Good morning, second graders at Bethune Elementary. This is Mr. Chick, and we're going to continue our lessons on Unit 5, Standard G2, Partitioning Rectangles and Creating Arrays. So this is day 2. Yesterday, we learned how to make an array and see how many rows and columns we have. Today, we will learn how to create an array when given a certain amount of rows and columns to draw. Our I can statement is, I can partition a rectangle into rows and columns of same size squares and count to find the total number of them. Before we begin, let's review our vocabulary we learned yesterday. We talked about an array, which is an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. This is an array, and this is an array of emojis, another array, an array of cookies. Remember, an array is always a rectangle. It always has 4 sides. All the rows are the same, and all of the columns are the same. And you can see it's the same in all 4 of these arrays. We also learned about rows. Rows are objects in a horizontal line. That means they go side to side. Side to side. Like this row of chairs, these rows of chairs in a theater, and this array has 3 rows. We also learned about columns. Columns are objects in a line vertically, which means up and down. Up and down. You see columns on buildings, which hold up part of the building. This array has 6 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's a picture of the White House in Washington, D.C., which has columns holding up the front of the building. Okay, we have a new word. It's called partition. Partition. Partition means to split, or to break up, or to divide. So if we have this array, we're going to learn how to partition the array into rows and columns. I'll show you what we mean. We're going to solve this problem. Layla partitioned her rectangle into 4 rows and 3 columns. How many squares does she have? First, we're going to separate the rectangle into 4 rows. And we're going to do that by drawing 3 horizontal lines, or side-to-side lines. 1, 2, 3. Now we have 4 rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to separate the rectangle into 3 columns. We'll do that by drawing 2 vertical lines, or up and down. Put one here and one here. Now we have 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. So how many squares do we have? Well, we have 3 in this row. We have 3 in this row. We have 3 in this row. And we have 3 in this row. So we have a total of 12 squares in this rectangle with an array of 4 rows and 3 columns. Let's try another one. Dominique partitioned her rectangle into 2 rows and 4 columns. How many squares does she have? Well, again, we're going to separate the rectangle into 2 rows by drawing 1 horizontal line. right here. So now we have 2 rows, 1 and 2. And we have 4 columns. So we're going to separate into 3 vertical lines, 1, 2, 3. So we have 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many squares do you think we have? Well, we have 4 in this row, and we have 4 in this row, so we have a total of 8 squares. Now you try one. On a separate sheet of paper, solve the following problem, and you can pause this if you need to do that. Keon partitioned his rectangle into 3 rows and 3 columns. How many squares does he have? So remember, we're going to separate into rows and columns. And then we're going to add and come up with the total number of squares. So again, pause this if you need to work on your problem. Awesome job. Now, if you created an array with 9 squares, you did great. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Tomorrow we're going to learn more about arrays. And don't forget to click on the link of the Microsoft form on this morning newsletter to complete your quiz. Have a great day.